Hey team, welcome to episode 127 of Transition Talk, where we talk about dental transitions and how to navigate the sometimes messy path to practice ownership. Whether you're buying or selling a practice or getting your practice valued, it's okay to not have all the answers or to know how the full process works. That's where we, or a transition advisor, come into play. If you reach out to our team at NDP, you'll likely first talk to Brandy or Alivia. These ladies are key team members to us and help facilitate the transition process. So I've invited them to today's episode, their Transition Talk debut, to discuss common questions and concerns they receive and their tips for doctors to have a smooth transition. Brandy Pecora is our transition coordinator. She's often the first point of contact if you call, if you're a buyer or seller. She's probably the first person you call or email. She works closely with clients throughout the sale of their practice. Brandy comes to us with 20 years of experience in the dental industry. She started working when she was at least, 7. As a lead orthodontic assistant, trainer, treatment coordinator, and office manager. We are so lucky to have her. Alivia Youree is our valuation analyst and valuation client liaison. She's the primary point of contact on the valuation team. She's instrumental in guiding clients through the dental valuation process. Prior to NDP, Alivia worked in the public transportation industry as grants and reporting coordinator before transitioning to the director of finance, and then she found her way to us. Brandy and Alivia both joined our team in June of 22. So where we stand today, coming up on 3 years. And we're so fortunate to have them on our team as well as today, so you can learn from them. So welcome, Brandy and Alivia.
Hi, thank you.
Hello.
So you guys are so important to our process and to our clients. And I know that how you interact with our clients is so important because you are the first touch. You're the first person that they interact with via email or talk on the phone. And I think both of you do such a good job of being welcoming and professional and on top of it and just really helping them feel comfortable in what is probably a kind of a nerve-wracking process for them. So I want to talk a lot about that. But before I do that, I would love for our listeners to just get to know you a little bit. So I have some fun questions. My first question, I'll go Brandy first and then Alivia. So Brandy, what is your favorite vacation activity?
Oh, give me the mountains all day.
And what, like driving, hiking, like what do you like to do?
All of it. Road trips, the hiking, the adventure, just the exploring. Yeah.
There are oftentimes when you post pictures, your dad lives in Oklahoma.
Yes.
Brandy will be like, I'm going to go see dad. And then there will be pictures of just like gorgeous landscapes and hiking. So
yes, anywhere we go. I mean, any drive, if I can find an offshoot, right, to go see some beautiful views or go on a little adventure hike, I will do it.
it just like clears the mind a bit.
It does. It's just so peaceful to me. It's my happy place.
What about you?
We like anything outdoors, especially the lake. We grew up going to the lake all the time. My aunt's lake house is like our family haven. And then now I'm the softball mom. And so outside softball games or steer shows have started.
Now, you know that softball games are not vacations.
No.
Right? But that's, I mean, as a mom, we clearly have to just do it, right? Mm-hmm. Alivia is like the person who brings like real life to our team. Tell the listeners the animals that you have.
So we have a herd of cows and bulls, and we have goats, chickens, a donkey, 2 horses, 5 dogs.
Yeah. So Alivia will come to work and be like, I'm really tired. Like we had like a calf last night. And I'm like, what? Okay. Again, everyone's story is so different. Our team is so unique. And so I'm so glad that the listeners are getting to hear from you both. So this is a little more touchy-feely question. Who inspires you? Brandy, you go first.
Oh, man.
It can be personally, it can be professionally, it can be a mix of two,
Yeah, personally, it's got to be my dad and my mom for sure. They both navigated through life and all these challenges and all these things, and they have just done nothing but overcome and keep going. And so they're definitely an inspiration because for sure who has taught me how to just keep going.
Yeah, just
keep going.
Keep rocking.
And it all always ends up okay. It doesn't matter, just always move forward because no matter what, you just keep moving and it does all work out.
It's like a Dory, right? Just keep swimming. Mm-hmm.
That's
just
right.
Keep swimming.
And it's true. I've learned a lot of lessons just by keep moving when I didn't want to.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. What about you?
I would say my husband. He is like my biggest motivator. And lately he's like really stepped up his game. So it's nice to have
a partner
and a rock and someone that just motivates you to keep going and doing things that help you get your dreams.
Yeah.
So.
Again, I'm going to bring it back to this, but like your husband came from a different background than you. And
Completely
you guys have like merged your worlds, right?
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. Yeah. I think finding a partner, finding a spouse, but also just like a friend, right? Like these things that we're doing in life are tough, and transitions are a big part of that, right? I mean, I think that like when you're about to go through a life change, which I think a transition is a huge life change, whether in or out of ownership, a lot of that is like an emotional piece of it. So having those people that you can kind of lean on that know you as a person, I think is really, really important. So thanks for sharing, ladies. I'm going to dive into some questions. Again, you guys are first touch, and I think you guys like screen some questions that like we don't get once they get onto our plate. Like you guys are able to kind of screen those and get some of those out of the way. Brandy, what are some common questions or concerns that buyers in particular have when they first reach out to our team?
Mostly their main question or things I think they're thinking, right, is this the right opportunity for me? Right? I have all of these things, these documents. What does it mean?
Yeah.
Is this good? Can you just tell me yes or no? And I'm like, well, it's not quite that easy, but yes, let's look into it. So really, it's mainly just, is this right? Is this going to be the one for me?
Yeah.
That's usually like the main concern.
From a document perspective, do you find that you kind of have to like nudge them on what documents are important or how to ask for documents?
Yes.
Or like, what is the name of this document that we need? What does it have on it?
Correct. It's guiding through that whole process, what they're called, what to look for, because sometimes they may know what it's called, but they may not know what it actually includes, or I may have to like guide them to say, hey, well, actually that one has this information. Oh, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So it's just the more details of the specifics of knowing exactly everything
Yeah.
when they bring it to me.
So if you're listening and you're like, I know I should know what a profit and loss is,
Correct.
and I know that term, but I don't so much know what it looks like, know that you are not the only one who've had that thought. And like, no question's a dumb question. We truly mean that.
Every time. And even the same thing, it goes with like a production versus collection. That's always kind of a big misconception too. It's like when I say we need this production, they'll knowingly always send me a collection report because in their mind, they think that's the same. And that's okay, but I just have to give them the kind of little feedback.
How does that differ from sellers? Like, what are their common like questions, concerns when they first kind of land in our inbox or on a call?
Usually, especially if they don't have a buyer, but they know they're ready to transition, that's usually it's just coming to me saying, what do I do?
Yeah.
What is my plan? I need a plan. Can you help me? Can you help guide me on what my plan is? I know I want to transition out, but I don't know how to even do that. Am I able to do that? What does that look like? So usually with a seller, if they don't have a buyer, it's kind of those, give me a plan. Can you help me with that?
Yeah. And I know we oftentimes get a lot of inquiries that you two have to work closely on because the comment will be like, I need a valuation of my practice. And we're like, do you need a valuation or do you potentially just need a price? Do you have someone? So you guys are working closely to figure out like whose team it's going to go to. Yeah. Olivia, what about you? Like we have valuation clients. Now, clearly they know what they're doing, right? Like, cause they come to us wanting a valuation. At least we think they should, right? So talk to me about some common question concerns when a doctor requests a valuation.
So the biggest concern is how much we ask for. That initial ask can be very intimidating.
Meaning
sure.
documents,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
It can feel overwhelming, especially when they're busy running a practice. Because some doctors are more the type A, like they want to control everything and they want to submit everything themselves. Or they're like, oh, here's my office manager. She's going to help you with everything. And sometimes we don't hear from the doctors at all once we're engaged. It's mostly office manager or spouse, something to that nature. The biggest problem we have is them understanding that we have a valuation date, and it's not like, here, we need the report as of today. We want it as of a specific date. So that can be hard to grasp sometimes.
Yeah. It's just not how their mind
We
works.
just have to like nudge them and remind them like, we need your valuation date, not as of today's date. So that's another
just common. Yeah. I think the value of your practice, and we've had multiple episodes, we've had Dawn on, and again, talk about valuation a lot, but I think there's a very big emotional component of the value. And so I'm sure you get a lot of clients who are like, let me tell you how special my practice is, right?
always. Yes.
That's so unique.
Well, I have this and we just did this huge renovation. And I'm like, okay, well, we look at the numbers, not necessarily the facade of the building.
Yeah. Yeah. We care, right? Like we care that your practice is really pretty and we'll have pictures. And I do think that helps marketability. But yeah, I think, and we've said that on here a ton of times, but like your practice is special, right? And so is the next person's, right? Like they're all special in their own way. And our job is to kind of figure out how and why they're different and what that looks like it does. Okay, this is my main question. I think some of your answers might be similar, but Brandy, I'll ask you first. What is the thing a client, either buyer or seller, or you can answer for both, is oftentimes the most unprepared for?
When they first reach out?
Yeah.
I would say just knowing the things.
Yeah. Like,
Honestly, knowing all the details, anything, whether it's the documents, whether not having the documents, but sometimes they don't even know price. Sometimes they don't even know how much they get to buy. And they just know they saw it online and it looks great. And the broker said, I need to buy it tomorrow.
it's almost like the devil's in the details and they don't know all that they don't know.
Correct. Like a lot of times they don't even know if they can do the work that's within the practice, you know?
Talk about clients, this is buyers in particular, that call us and they say, I'm ready to sign a letter of intent. What does that typically mean?
I always panic.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that happens. I panic. And then I ask them all the questions. That just means they're ready to jump on it like immediately before knowing the things.
Yeah, before knowing the things. And I think that's important, right? Like we will have clients who will come to us and they'll say, I'm ready to sign a letter of intent. The broker wants me to sign this. And we'll ask them those questions that you just mentioned, right? Like if it's partnership, like how much are you buying? How are you splitting money? What's the price? And they're like, I don't know. And we're like, well, what are we signing? Like,
yeah,
what's
and
happening?
why? Why are you doing that now, right? They do, especially a lot of first-time buyers.
Yeah.
I do feel like younger ones right out of school, you know, I do feel like they get kind of led into by the brokers, just that it's the sense of urgency that there's 5 other buyers that are signing right now, so you need to submit this. And I get it, right? It's exciting and they're excited, but I think you still have to be patient. So I do feel like that's one thing I always preach is just be patient.
Yeah. And we can be urgent once we have some details, right? I always liken it to buying a house, right? Like no one goes and buys a house and puts an offer sight unseen or agrees to a price without like an inspection, you know, eventually. So that's true. What about you? What do you think that clients are most unprepared for when they get into the valuation process?
I would say the amount of time it takes for us to complete it. They think that we can just snap our fingers and be done within a week of getting all the information. We just have to coach them like this will not be our first email. There could be multiple rounds. This will take at least 8 weeks once we have all your information, which is like the huge caveat. They're like, oh, we gave you your financials. But that's not all we need. So it's hard for them to understand that it's not a very fast turnaround.
Yeah. And I think too, like if we had one valuation client, right, make a real great turnaround, you know, but clearly we have a pipeline of clients and kind of getting that done. And I also think the level of detail, I think clients are oftentimes surprised when they get that final report. Don't you think?
Yes. They're very surprised with how detailed and long and in depth we go versus just like surface level.
Yeah. And those clients, you know, sometimes evaluation is just something they have to have, right? But most clients, I think, leave with a, wow, thank you so much for this. And thank you for putting the detail that you went. And I think the same is true on like the buyer seller side. I think that the work product that they get is oftentimes indicative of the number of questions that we had to ask. Okay, Brandy, what advice would you give young first-time buyers that are about to enter the process? We've talked about clearly how they need to kind of be patient and know, but what's kind of something if you could just tell them like one thing, right? What would that look like?
Yes, aside from the things we already mentioned, just gaining the knowledge, taking the time and soaking in all the resources that you have. Because you don't know what you don't know. And I think a lot of first-time young buyers, especially the students right out of school that I talk to, they don't know. And they don't know where to start. They don't know where to begin. So just utilizing the resources would make just a huge difference in just their own confidence as they move forward.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that a lot of young dentists don't get a lot of business curriculum in the programs, and they're used to knowing a lot and being kind of clearly brilliant from a clinical standpoint. Like, you don't want me in your mouth, even though I can do some business. And so I think for me that they're learning and they're educating themselves. And I think the buyers that we have that really ask a lot of questions and like try to figure out like, what is that office expense? Like, what kind of expenses go there? Or what is a normal accounting cost? Or why aren't they spending a lot on marketing? Like, what does that mean? Like, those individuals I know are going to be great owners.
Yes.
And so our team really tries to educate you. But I think whether you utilize us or not, I think that having experts who are better at it than you are is real important. Yeah.
Absolutely.
What about you? What do you think about if you think about someone who's about to go into a partnership and into a transition and clearly valuation is the first stop? What one piece of advice would you give those doctors?
I would say start planning early and make sure you have your ducks in a row when it comes to reporting and tracking expenses and how you put the production in your system. Make sure it's separated if you have different locations, because that can get very complicated. We come into some that have 4 4 locations and they're like, well, we want this separated out or bifurcated into 4 locations because we just want to sell one location. Well, if they don't have it separated properly, then that can get really complicated.
Yeah. And that's very true from a valuation perspective, but also true on the buying side, right? If you're an established doc that's listening and you have multiple locations, but one profit and loss and one tax return, what that means is when you go to sell your practice, you're selling all of the locations, right? If you aren't going to try to sell one satellite location that you bought post-COVID and maybe now you think you shouldn't have, so let me just have someone, buy that, understanding what they're buying, right? Sometimes there's no staff dedicated to that office. Sometimes you have no idea how much of the supplies went to that office. And so really, I agree with you that preparing for the transition is clearly so critical, whether it's just to get a value or it's to actually like list that one practice or all of your practices to try to find a buyer. Clearly, we think you're both incredibly valuable to our team, and everyone does a lot of what they do because, we all need a job, right? But I think we all kind of enjoy what we do. Brandy, you clearly have background in dentistry and kind of a passion for that. As you sit here today, what is the most fulfilling part of your role here at NDP? I'll start with you, Brandy.
Okay. For me, it's just the excitement of getting to be a part of, it's such a big life decision, right, that they're making, whether it's a seller or a buyer. And it just feels so great. It's so fulfilling to me to be able to guide them and just support them and lead them in that right direction, because that process is very overwhelming. It can feel very overwhelming. So knowing that we can give them some peace and some peace of mind and moving forward with confidence of knowing that, like, you know what, I can do this.
Yeah.
And that feels so good.
Yeah,
that's my favorite.
I agree. What about you?
I would say the client relationships and like being able to learn a little bit more about them and kind of what their troubles are, what they're going through. And we like to take it as a stressful situation and turn it into something that's more empowering. They can know what their practice is worth and get a product that they're proud of out of it.
I love both of those answers because those are my favorite things too. I love the light bulb moments of them figuring out, the young person who's figuring out like, oh, I get it now. Or the doctor who has never looked at their practice in that way and, is now seeing kind of the full picture of what they've created. I mean, I think those are very powerful moments for us and hopefully for them as well. Well, guys, I have appreciated your time. Thank you for stepping away from your computers and hopefully I didn't make you too behind by asking you to be a part of this, but we're really grateful for you. And if you are listening and you are thinking about becoming a client, get ready because you get to meet these lovely ladies as you reach out to us. All right, team, that's all we have for today. Thank you for joining us on episode 127 of Transition Talk. As always, make sure to share the transition love with those who may not know of us yet. And of course, subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. Until next time.